Welcome back to Sunrise. Read Across Jamaica Day is used to promote the significance of reading and literacy among Jamaicans during Education Week every year. And our dear friend and Anansi's best friend, award-winning writer, actress, storyteller, founder, artistic director of Untukuma Storytelling Foundation, of course, we have Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks. She will share the importance of reading and storytelling. Good morning, Dr. Blackwood Meeks. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I heard you all talking about some of my favorite books, which we discovered in high school.
Yes.
And how surprised you were that your children are not really your children.
Yes.
What a wake-up call.
Yes, to all of us, right? I love that when we were introducing you, you pointed out your pin. Let's talk a little bit about, in general, the importance of literature, but also the importance of keeping the stories that were our grandparents' stories, our parents' stories, and will be our future grandchildren's stories.
Absolutely. Do you know that my godfather was a teacher?
Okay.
Back in the day, we had veranda school, and never named basic school.
Yeah.
And my godfather would collect me every morning before I could walk and would sit me at his desk while he taught. And I grew up believing that the book was the natural extension of your fingers.
Right.
And I cannot imagine my life without a book. You're looking at my handbag, me always have a book. If the plane late, if the traffic light on red, don't tell anybody that part. But if I have 2 minutes, I'm reading. It's a way to discover the world and discover yourself and enhance who you are or want to be. And then about the stories, I know that I brought Anansi. Me and Anansi going to read Across Jamaica today, literally. But once upon a time is how we're living now. And how we're living now will become the once upon a time our great-great-grandchildren speak about. So we have a responsibility to give them something wonderful to talk about.
All right. Well, we definitely want you
Me
to
and Anansi
get
now
into the reading.
Going to read this book. Hello. We need to build a new nation.
All right.
And this book was written many, many years ago, and then you can guess. You can guess, you can guess, you can research how many years ago this might have been. Shall I begin? We might not have a chance to read all of this story, but at the end, I will tell you where to get the book. Is that okay? Makeda was sitting on the veranda steps. It was her favorite place to sit and think. Sitting 1 step down, Makeda would rest her elbow on the next upper thread. She liked the pose. Can you do that pose? She liked the pose, yes. It made her feel special. Every evening, she would assume that pose and wait for her mother to return. Hello. That was always the first word her mother whispered ever so lovingly as she came through the gate. She was ever so mindful that she might be interrupting some beautiful thought in Makeda's head. Makeda knew how to respond. Hello, she would say, turning her head slightly to look her mother directly in the eyes. It was the polite thing to do. That's what she had been taught. Always look someone directly in the eye when they speak to you and smile. As she did, that old poem would be floating in her head. The world is like a mirror, reflecting what you do. And if you face it smiling, it smiles right back at you. In that moment, her mother was her world. Makeda tried to mirror her beautiful smile. Then she would return to her previous position, even as she listened to her mother's instructions. They always began with the words, "We need to." Makeda knew what would come next. It amused her that each day was so predictable. She even wrote a dub poem about it. You want to hear the poem? Anominium Salaman Gunde. Washing take the fun out on Monday. Me must put out the trash pan Tuesday. The plate better wash themselves on Wednesday. The grocery shop too noisy on Thursday. And every day in the week should be Friday. Makeda loved Fridays. On those days, her mother would say, We need to get some jerk chicken. That was Makeda's favorite meal. Still, she wished that one day they would do something different. After thinking about it for a while, she got an idea. It was the last Friday in March, the end of International Women's Month. Her class had talked about it at school, and the teacher had informed them that the theme that year was Women in Decision Making. When she got home from school, she was surprised to see her grandmother Pearl, who had come to visit. Grandmother Pearl was watching television. "Hello," her grandmother called out, and what do you think Makeda did? She looked her grandmother directly in the eye. She smiled, knowing it was the polite thing to do. "Hello," she said. "Well, come here, young lady," her grandmother beckoned. Whenever Grandmother Pearl called her young lady, Makeda would assume her chin up, head high, pose in anticipation that something extra special would happen next. This time, her grandmother said, "Come and see what's on television." Makeda got very excited. She climbed onto the sofa and snuggled up to her grandmother. "We have a new prime minister," Grandmother Pearl announced. "That's what teacher said today." Makeda was showing off now, you know. Still, her eyes grew wide. Grandmother Pearl continued, "A woman prime minister. And she's going to be on television." "What's wrong with a female prime minister being on television?" asked Makeda. Her eyes grew wider. "That's all very new," Grandmother Pearl said in amazement. "That is the first time that ever happened in all my born days. You have never seen a woman as a prime minister? A new female prime minister?" Makeda said it all very slowly. She tried to understand what Grandmother Pearl wanted her to know. Just then, someone on television said something about nation building. She was trying to understand it all when her grandmother interrupted her thoughts again. "And what would you do if you were the prime minister, young lady?" There it was again. Grandmother Pearl had called her young lady once more. "Chin up, head high." "Well," she said, "I'd make a big decision. I, Makeda, would build a new nation." Her grandmother Pearl chuckled. "And how would you do that?" And that's where we're going to leave the story for today. For you to dream up all the wonderful ways in which you could build a new nation. And if you want to read the rest of this story and my other books, they are available in all major bookstores and in pharmacies and in Fimi Bookshop. You want to know where Fimi Bookshop is? Wherever you see my car.
Oh, that was fantastic. I want to know what happens next.
You got to come to Fimi Bookshop.
Oh, what a cliffhanger. That was fantastic stuff. Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks, writer, storyteller, founder, artistic director. Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you, boys and girls. I appreciate you.
And this little one. Yes.
Yes.
The only boy in the
I
group.
observed every time you said chin up, head high, I observed the posture change.
Is that right?
Yes, including myself. All right, it's now time for a short break. More on Sunrise when we return. That was fantastic. Truly fantastic.
I enjoyed it.